Counter-Strike 2 knives tier list. Let's get it. I got opinions about this. I got 5 categories. Goated, great, good, mid, and low-key worse than default knife. Okay, first one is the bayonet, one of the absolute classics. Everyone likes the bayonet. I never met a person who doesn't like the bayonet. Very good on animations, and I definitely think animations are less important than the form of the knife. So the shape of the knife is, for me, what's most important. So that's mostly what gets rated. Yeah, bayonet, I'm going to put it straight into great. It's not quite goated, because the shape is not quite interesting enough, but animations-wise, it is very, very clean. Who doesn't like it? I've never seen, I think in every finish it's good as well. Like, yeah. Next up is Bowie. So Bowie has a decent shape, but the way it appears on screen is like so big and a bit... I don't like the way the character holds it. Now, it's good that they added the second hand, I'll admit. But for Bowie, it's just straight up mid for me. I like, just shape alone, it could easily go good tier, maybe even great. But the way it appears in game is just not that appealing to me. And the animations, they're good, but nothing to bring it up. Butterfly knife. This is kind of controversial. I like the butterfly knife less than the bayonet. I definitely don't think it's goated. I don't think there's enough blade to justify goated tier. Obviously, in terms of animations, it's the best knife. But as I said, I prefer form to animations. I like to like see a lot of the paint job of whatever like finish it is. And with butterfly knife, you can't get that. I would prefer a bayonet, straight up. Same pattern, whatever. Yeah, bayonet's better in my opinion. Classic knife, not much needs to be said. Animations, you know, they're kind of default-ish, but the look of the knife is good, and yeah, it's a knife I like. There's really nothing bad about it, as well as nothing too great about it. I think good is perfectly fitting. Falchion knife, as I said, I'm not really an animations person, but the shape and the way finishes look on the Falchion knife is so bad that it has to just go in low-key worse than default. I think the default knives actually look better by a decent margin than the Falchion knife, so that is pretty easy. Flip knife. The flip knife vanilla looks really bad, but I actually put flip knife in the great category. I think it's one that's grown on everyone over the years. This one, for me, is just a really nice knife. It is too small to go above the butterfly and the bayonet. It kind of has the same issue as the butterfly, but I almost like it just as much. Animations-wise, very strong. Yeah, blade size is letting it down. Gut knife, is it mid or is it low-key worse than default? This is one I hadn't quite decided yet. The problem with the gut knife is it looks quite good on the ones where it changes from the brown paint job. I mean, the brown wood. But whenever it's just the brown wood, it looks kind of bad. I don't know. There's like half of patterns where it looks decent and half where it doesn't. So I'm going to put it mid because there are those ones where it looks pretty good. But only there's not that many where like some look worse than default, some are mid. That's what I'm trying to say, and I think it does bring it up to mid because some are pretty nice. Huntsman knife. I think Huntsman knife would go top of good. It's honestly pretty underrated. I love the draw animation. And you get a big blade, and it's much more aesthetic. It's like a better Bowie knife. It's much more aesthetically pleasing than the Bowie knife. But yeah, kind of same kind of deal. And yeah, I would say that. Karambit, straight to goated. Probably just like the most iconic knife, right? It is very nicely shaped. The draw animation's super nice. You get a good amount of blade, and it's just the cleanest knife. It really is. I can't put it anywhere other than goated. M9 bayonet. I do prefer the M9 bayonet to the original bayonet, I believe. Slightly bigger blade, less interesting animations. As I said, I'm more a fan of form over like animations, so I would slightly edge out the M9 bayonet over the bayonet, but to me they're very, very close. Navajo knife, isn't it called? I think this is the Navajo one. Yeah. Navajo knife is verging on worse than default. I think it's definitely better than the Falchion. But I actually quite like the animation, so I'm gonna put it mid. Like, form-wise, it would be worse than default, but because of the cool animations, I will put it mid. It is worse than the gut knife, though, I believe. Yeah, that seems right to me. Next one up is the... that's survival. This is the... I forget what this one's even called. The Nomad knife. Not a big fan of this one. It's a little too small for my liking. It's probably... I think it's actually worse than the Navajo knife, but Navajo, I think it's called that. I don't know. The new ones, I haven't played enough CS recently to know exactly what they're called. But yeah, this one, it's either mid or worse than default. I think it is slightly better than default, especially with a nice finish, so I'll put it mid. Next one, Paracord. So Paracord, full disclosure, it's the knife I own, and I think the Paracord is quite underrated. I've seen a lot of people put it in mid or like lowest tier, and I just don't understand because the blade is nice, the animations are decent. Like, I think it's just like a top of good knife. I think it's around even with the Huntsman. I think if I trade, I'll go for a Huntsman because they're around the same price tier, and for me, around the same goodness, I would say. Shadow Daggers, not really a knife I'm interested in owning, but low-key better than most of the ones I've put in mid. I think I'll put it top of mid. I do actually think it's a pretty good knife. Like, it looks really good in some finishes, and even when it doesn't, yeah, it's more an issue of just blade length and size, and it just doesn't like take up the screen like all the ones above it. But I think it's a decent knife. Skeleton knife is really nice, one of the best new knives for sure. I think skeleton knife would either go top of good or bottom of great. Yeah, I think it is better than the flip knife actually, so I'm gonna put it just below the butterfly here. I think that's fair. I think everyone likes it. I mean, the animations are just so cool, but also it is a fairly nice looking knife in general. I don't love the fact that the handle is the same material as the knife itself. It's never been a look I'm a big fan of, same as the falchion, I guess. But in this case, it works much better. Stiletto. Definitely one that people have come to like a lot. I think, and this is like the one where the animation actually does kind of... It's like the butterfly. Small blade, but animation's really nice. I think it also goes great, and I think it's slightly worse than the flip knife. But yeah, I think it's come to have a good reputation for a reason. Survival knife. I think it is better than the Nomad knife, better than the Navajo. Is it better than the Gut? It's definitely in mid-tier, though. I think it's slightly better than the Gut knife here, slightly worse than the Bowie. That seems right to me. Actually, maybe worse than the Gut knife, to be honest. Around there. Talon. Talon is a really nice knife, actually. I don't think I like it as much as the bayonets, but I think it does belong in great. Yeah, I think it goes bottom great. And then finally, Ursus knife, I think is really actually quite a good knife. It's definitely going good tier. Do I prefer it to the original 1.6 knife? I think not. So I think it belongs at the bottom of good. So that is my tier list. Low key, I think I'm cooking. There you go. That's the final result here. Let me know what you thought. I'm curious. Where did I go wrong? But I put everything, I kind of stacked everything to the middle. I think most are kind of middle. And there's the clear worst. The clear worst is the Falchion. The clear best is the Karambit. That's how I roll. And I'm a proud owner of the Paracord. I think it's underrated. So, as someone who's not made of money, you know, that is my choice for the Daily Driver. All right. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Let me know what you thought. And if you want to see more tier lists of random stuff, because I have some ideas of stuff to do, let me know. All right. Goodbye.